Halloween has come and gone. You're probably left with tons of candy, another costume that'll go in the back of the closet, and pumpkins. We asked you on Facebook what you do with your pumpkins. Denise Dimmitt says, smash it, of course. I like to take the thrill away from juvenile delinquents. And Bob Parsons says he uses his for target practice. Well, we have more ideas coming up for you after the break.
Well, what if you have leftover pumpkins? Don't just throw them away just yet.
Lindsay Boach is joining us in studio this morning, and she has some creative ideas for your post-Halloween pumpkins.
Yes, a lot of people said that they smashed their pumpkins.
It worked for a band in the 90s.
It absolutely did.
Works very well, actually.
And most of these tips will actually work best with uncarved pumpkins. So if you decided to paint them this year, or perhaps you just didn't get around to carving them, like myself, listen up. Pumpkin puree is the #1 use for the fleshy insides of your pumpkin. I've already scooped out the inside of this pumpkin. It's super easy to make. All you have to do is start by taking your pumpkin, cut it down the middle, which again I've already done. Scoop out the seeds and guts, set them aside for later. The seeds obviously are the seeds, and little did I know these were called the guts. They feel quite like guts as well. Place your pumpkin cut side down. What'd you say?
Felt.
One pumpkin gut as of now.
Guts, just pumpkin guts. Put it down on a baking dish with about a cup of water. Bake it for about an hour and a half or until this flesh is tender, and then scoop it out and then just put it in a food processor. Now once you've made your pumpkin puree, it's ready for your use in all of your favorite pumpkin recipes, from pies to pancakes, and any of that extra puree can be stored in the freezer for several months, which means you can ditch all of the canned pumpkins when it comes to Thanksgiving. Next, we're going to use those insides that we put aside, the guts. They're the stringy pieces around the seeds. Last week, Hannah and I had quite a fun time picking out the seeds from the guts. Yeah, it feels weird. But these icky innards can be used to make some great things. Pumpkin stock, for example, separate the seeds from the guts and place those aside. And then place the guts in a pot filled with water and boil it. And you can add other unwanted vegetable pieces like celery tips, carrot tops, or anything else for more flavor. Carrot tops, not carrot top, like the actor. Boil for about 30 minutes or until the water begins to change color. Strain your stock and then reserve the broth and set the guts and vegetable pieces aside to be composted. A lot of this is going to be put in a compost pile. It's a great additive for compost to help fertilize your plants. And then pumpkin stock is perfect for adding to soups, casseroles, or anything that you can freeze for later use later on. And remember those seeds that we put aside or that you picked out just now, they're a great, tasty fall favorite, and there are plenty of ways to use them this November. After you've separated the seeds from the guts and rinsed them thoroughly, place them on a single layer of an oiled baking sheet. Stir them around, coat them with oil. From there, you can go almost anywhere with your pumpkin seeds. You can have them a little sweet by adding some cinnamon and sugar, or you can also go a little salty by adding salt and other things. Now this year, this is all that's left of my pumpkin seeds. I put meat rub on it, actually, a citrus meat rub. So it was kind of cool. A little something different, and you can experiment with that as well. And you can also put them outside on candied apples, and they also go great in brownies or other baked goods. And if you've had enough sweets from Halloween, you can use your roasted pumpkin seeds for delicious garnishes on your salads too. So I've got plenty more tips for you on your pumpkins. So if you have any tips, you can log on to our Facebook page and post them there on the comment or on the thread as well.
Very nice. I learn so much when you do things in studio.
I know. I love pumpkin pancakes. I think I'm going to try that one.
Yeah, you can put the puree in the pancakes.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We also have another use for the puree, which might seem a little gross, but supposedly it helps something. I'll leave it at that.
Good tease, Lindsay.
Well, we'll just stay tuned for that. I had some of Lindsay cook some pumpkin. I don't know how you cook pumpkin seeds, but brought them in.
I've learned from the beginning to the end. Lindsay conned me into peeling pumpkin seeds out of that gooey the guts.
I teased it with cake.
I don't know.
Anyway, they tasted like, they were a little crispy.
They're good. Yeah, they're
little
crunchy.
crispy. But
I can see them on a salad.
I'd rather have the cinnamon sugar on a salad.
Well, don't ask me to make them for you.
The salty.
Yeah, the weather's not bad for November 1st, and it's hard to believe that it's even November 1st. But Halloween is come and gone. The candy, there's still plenty of it. I'm sure you have unused pumpkins as well. We're going to tell you what to do with those next, but we asked you on Facebook, and Deb Van Antwerp says we're taking them to PCS and helping the gifted kids launch them. And Elizabeth Kerr says that she lets the squirrels have them. They absolutely love them. So we've got more ideas coming up for you after the break.
Lindsay is in studio with us this morning. She has a large knife. I'm a little afraid.
Yes.
What do you do with your pumpkins after Halloween? Mine just kind of set on the porch until it's time to put up the Christmas lights, and it's like, oh.
Mine's rotting already.
I didn't have any.
Well, great. Now here's Tegan with your weather.
No, we bought some last week for carving. We had more pumpkins than carvers, so we have leftover pumpkins. So here we go. This is what we're doing.
Why do you have such a big knife?
Why do I have it? You can't use a little knife to cut a pumpkin.
All right.
So that's
Fair
why.
enough.
But that puree that we made earlier, and if you missed that, we'll put those directions online for you, can be used for many things. One of those things is it goes on your face, actually. Pumpkins are rich in zinc, vitamins A, C, and E, which makes your pumpkin puree healthy for your body if you eat it, and healthy if you apply it to your skin, which sounds kind of gross.
Can I come stick some on your face?
What?
Can I come stick some on your face?
No, that's okay. Maybe later after. But that's why we use, you know, it's good for you. It has a lot of vitamins in it. So you could start with 5 teaspoons of that pumpkin puree and then add 3 teaspoons of brown sugar. So here's the brown sugar. We're just going to throw some in this little thing right here. 1, 3. And then a little bit of milk. And then you stir it together, and then you put it on your face. Put it in a circular motion, but don't put it near your eye area. It could irritate your eyes. And now is your time to relax. For up to 20 minutes, allow all of that pumpkin goodness to seep deep into your skin. Ugh. Now, pumpkins don't only taste good for us. They're a tasty treat for your furry or feathery neighbor. Old jack-o'-lanterns especially are perfect food for deer, and any pumpkin seeds you don't want to toast for yourself will make a very yummy treat for birds. So take your old jack, and you could just cut them up. They can be in bigger pieces or in smaller pieces for the squirrels, so it's easier for them to eat. Take them, just cut them. Maybe use a sharper knife than this one that I have.
It's one of the Hollywood stunt knives.
Yes, but these
really
are good. And if you like deer, hopefully you do, you'll notice some Bambi lookalikes having a tasty afternoon snack. You can place the unwanted pumpkin seeds also in your bird feeder or in a container of your choice and do some bird watching while you have your morning coffee. And those trick-or-treaters have left the building, but the candy doesn't have to. Pumpkin candy is actually a Mexican tradition, but when you discover just how tasty they are, you'll likely make some of your own as well. You start with a whole pumpkin, cut it in half, and then after you've removed all those guts and seeds, cut the pumpkin into smaller chunks. You can even cut them into smaller chunks than this. And then you take the skin off. For fear of my fingers, we'll just cut extra far away. And you can then remove the skin with a sharp vegetable peeler or a knife. Once that skin's been removed, you can cut your pumpkin into bite-sized pieces, place those pieces in a saucepan, add just enough water to cover them, cover the pot and bring it to a boil. So basically you're just boiling these pumpkin pieces. Once they begin to soften, you use that brown sugar again, and you can use cinnamon here as well to make some spices. Cover the lid and continue to boil that until the sugar forms a syrup. And then those candies will sit in the syrup overnight and soak in that sugary flavor. Place them on a wire rack to dry and sprinkle with additional sugar if desired. I have plenty more tips for you coming up in the show. You can eat it, you can put it on your face, and you can also drink it. I have a nice drink recipe coming up for you adults and for the kids as well.
All right, very cool. I would rather have a pumpkin pie, I think, in my face. Oh, I shouldn't have said that because now I'll end up with
I was going to say, what are we doing later? Throwing pie at Chad.
Well, Halloween has come and gone. You probably have tons of candy, an old Halloween costume to throw in the closet with the rest of them. But pumpkins left over as well. What are you going to do with them? We have plenty of ideas. We asked you on Facebook what you do with your pumpkins. Bob Parsons says target practice. Elizabeth Kerr says she lets the squirrels have them. Now you do have to be careful of the laws in your state on what they allow, but we're going to use this coming up for more tips on what you can do with your pumpkins.
All right, even though Halloween is over, we're still talking cute little costumes and also pumpkins. Lindsay Boach has some great ideas for you about what to do with all those pumpkins post-Halloween.
Well, we've heard of pumpkin pie, and we've talked about pumpkin candies, but what about a pumpkin drink?
Is it in coffee?
No, it's not. Thanks to the ever-widening selection of flavored vodkas on the market, you can make a tasty cocktail out of almost anything, even your Halloween pumpkin. So for this tasty cocktail, we have a martini shaker that you fill with ice. You add a tablespoon of that pumpkin puree that we made earlier, and if you missed that, I'll put that on Facebook and on YouTube and on the web, and you can find it on there. But you also put 2 ounces of flavored vodka of your choice. Here's my little shot glass. Jen, this is for you. I love New York, since you're from New York, so that's for you. And you can add vanilla vodka, cinnamon vodka, ginger vodka. They have all sorts of different kinds. Add a splash of lime juice, and then just a tiny squeeze of honey. Then you shake it, and then you strain it into a glass over fresh ice. Now that might be fine if you're an adult, but there's also a drink for kids too, or those of you who don't drink alcohol. You can use some of that pumpkin puree in a tasty milkshake. Use 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream, a half a cup of milk, 3 tablespoons of that pumpkin puree, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. Put it in a blender and then blend it together. It tastes so much like pumpkin pie in a glass that you might even steal a little for yourself. Now, instead of hitting the trash can, those pumpkin shells could be hitting the dinner table and impressing all of your guests. You can turn these pumpkin shells into festive serving bowls. It's very, very easy. Just place your hollowed out pumpkin on a baking sheet lined with aluminum foil. Brush the insides and the tops with a little vegetable oil, and then season it as desired. Bake it at 350 degrees for 35 minutes, and these babies are ready to serve your favorite soups or dips, or you could probably even put chips and everything in there. They're great conversation starters, and you can toss them in the compost pile after your dinner is over. Now, my last use for your old pumpkin is one I never really thought of until I started researching this, and that's pumpkin butter. Fruit butters are delectable additions for a fall breakfast, and pumpkin butter is one of the easiest to make. Place 2 cups of that pumpkin puree into a saucepan with brown sugar, which we have here, and a cup of water, or for some more spices, you can use some apple cider. From there, you can choose other spices to use, like cinnamon. You can use typical pumpkin pie spices, nutmeg, cloves, ginger, and a pinch of salt. Stir those ingredients all together, bring it to a boil, and then turn down the heat. Allow that mixture to simmer for about 25 minutes. Now, once your pumpkin butter has cooled, you could store it in a glass jar in the refrigerator and use it for breakfast, on toast, and biscuits. It makes for great topping for pancakes and oatmeal too. We told you about that puree that you can use in pumpkin pancakes, so you can have pumpkin pancakes with pumpkin butter and pumpkin everything, I guess. Plenty of pumpkin tips, and these will, like I said, be available on our Facebook page also later today.
Have you made any of these?
No. You haven't. I'm not the best cook.
Well, I love apple butter, and pumpkin butter would be similar, I think, to apple butter.
Yeah, I made the pumpkin seeds. I did that.
Yeah, so I could get on board with the pumpkin butter.
Yeah, definitely.
That I could do. I don't know if I want to be dipping my yams out of a pumpkin carcass at Thanksgiving.
When you say carcass, it just makes everything sound
I think the
gross.
word puree too.
Oh, you don't like puree?
Yeah, but I don't know. Compote? I mean, what else? That's not a very yummy word to think about.
Compost?
No, compote.
Compote?
Yeah, like when you get blueberry pancakes, they put blueberry compote on it.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that either.
So, yeah, it's just not a very good name. And she's, liquor drinks all over the place.